Hey, what's up? In today's video, we're going to take a look at in-game play with EA's new Apex Legends Battle Royale game. And we're going to see how that performs on our GTX 1050 and i7-3770 that are in our HP Elite 8300 SFF. So if you have similar hardware to those, so if you have around a GTX 1050 and around an i7-3770, this might be what you can expect in terms of settings and in terms of gameplay of this particular Battle Royale game. So going into our video settings, I've already somewhat optimized the settings in order to achieve around 60 FPS throughout the game. So right now I have VSync disabled so that we can take a look at what kind of FPS the hardware can muster, but we can set that pretty much. They have a bunch of different VSync options from double buffer, triple buffer to adaptive, but we're just going to leave that disabled for now. Anti-aliasing on. Texture streaming is set to very low due to our only 2 GB of VRAM with the GTX 1050. Texture filtering I dropped from 16x to 2x. Ambient occlusion I dropped from high to low, and then I pretty much set the rest of the settings to low. So right now we're pretty much rocking low settings, low to medium settings for the most part. So we'll see what kind of FPS we can get in game. And if you were to go and try and build a system right now with that kind of hardware, I would recommend going with the GTX 1050 Ti, especially if you're trying to build in a small form factor build. The GTX 1050 Ti low profile has 4 gigs of VRAM over the 2 gigs of VRAM, which should definitely help in terms of being able to render larger scenes, which you'll see when we're dropping from the plane as we're dropping into the map. You'll see that we have very low FPS values there, just because we're trying to render the entire map. And with only 2 gigs of VRAM, it's really not enough in order to render that entire map.
I am prepared for the fight.
I've got everything you need.
So we got our skins selected. The skins in this game are pretty awesome, and the gun skins as well are pretty cool. So right now we're seeing like 100 FPS in just like the load screen menus. In-game, that's going to drop to probably around high 50s, low 60s, sometimes even spiking into the low 70s. But we'll see if we get any major FPS drops. So as you can see, looking down on the entire map, we can only really manage around high 30s, low 40s in terms of FPS, just because of the sheer amount that the game has to render. If we were to look off sort of into the distance, you can see it's less rendering. It's only, you can manage like 55 FPS, but looking at the map, you're only around going to see high 30s in terms of that. But we'll see once we actually drop what kind of FPS we see.
Jumping in. Hang on.
And it's really smooth, the game. There's no tearing or anything like that. Even at 40 FPS, it's super playable in terms of there's no choppiness or anything like that. So we'll get into the game. So now that we're actually on the map, you can see we're mid 60s in terms of FPS.
Attention. First blood.
Which is pretty good.
Battling the enemy. Reloading. I downed the hostile. Reloading.
Teammates in a fight, gotta get a gun.
Round one.
See if I can get to him.
Reloading. Reloading. Down the hostile and Scott. Reloading. Took out the hostile. Marking our
Attention.
surroundings.
The champion
Reloading.
has been eliminated. The champion made a poor choice. Enemy taken out.
Embrace that kill. Scanning the area. I am down but alive.
So there you go. It's a pretty good idea of what kind of FPS we can expect. Around high 50s, low 60s, sometimes into the mid 70s with low to medium settings. If you're going to go medium high settings, you're probably only going to see around high 40s, low 50s in terms of FPS, sometimes dropping into the 30s. So if you have this kind of hardware, a GTX 1050 and an older generation i7, either 3rd gen or 4th gen, you're probably going to want to keep it in low to medium settings in order to keep yourself above that 60 FPS mark. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments below. If you like the video, if you like the game, please leave this a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We'll be doing some more game testing. We got a build upcoming with an i7-3700K and an RTX 2060. So I'd love to do a comparison between that build and what we have going on here and see what kind of FPS difference we're going to see. I assume it's going to be a lot. And then if you haven't already, check out some of the old videos in terms of putting this HP Elite 8300 SFF together and the process of incorporating that GTX 1050 into that build.